Hello, Internet. Let's talk about peated whiskies. In particular, let's talk about mainland Scottish peated whiskies. So, to back up and explain a little bit, peat is hot. Peat got hot starting maybe 10, 15 years ago. But it was really the island whiskies, and particularly Islay, that people really got interested in as far as peat goes. Islay peat is very coastal and it's a kind of briny character. And it's very, very clean. You throw that in a bourbon barrel, you get a very sort of smoky, desserty quality to it, which is extremely delicious and lovely. But it's not the only peated whiskey out there. And particularly after, Islay got hot, folks in the mainland started doing a lot of peaty whiskey as well. But they never really got the attention of, the island ones. Partly because of their character, but partly because I just think they never got the sexy name recognition as the Islay ones. And but even before then, even before stuff got hot, you had mainlanders peating their malt whiskey. So Brewer is the most famous one. A couple of nerds out there will also know about Ardmore on the sort of western, southernish Highlands. It's on the border with the Speyside. And you've also got Springbank making Longrow, which is one of the stinkiest peated whiskeys you can buy. It's also terrific, and I should do a review of it one of these days when I grab a bottle. Anyhow, but there are others out there that have been doing peated whiskey for quite some time, and I thought they deserve some notice. Now the thing about so this is a video all about mainland peated whiskies. Beyond those two that still get noticed, the Ardmore and Longrow. So we've got Edradour's option here, which is Ballechin. We've got peated Benriach, Benriach has been peating whiskey for forever now. We've got Kilkerran. This is their Peat-in-Progress, batch number 3. This is also Campbeltown, like Springbank, but different distillery, so new distillery. And generally, Kilkerran stuff has been fantastic, so I wanted to try this. All right, so the thing about mainland peat is it is not as clean as Islay peat. In fact, it can get very, very stinky. This is, but enjoyably so, in the same way that some southern French wines are enjoyably stinky. Think barnyard, but also think at the same time like dirty chocolatey elements, like you dropped your favorite Lintz, 85% in some garbage and some dirt, and you kind of ate it anyways. That's kind of the mainland peat style. And it can turn some people off, but I think it's well worth exploring if you spent a whole lot of time in Islay and you're starting to kind of get a little bit bored of all that nice, clean maritime peat. Okay, so these seem like good options to experiment with. All right, so starting with the Ballechin, this is a little bit of an odd option. It's from Signatory, which actually owns the Edradour distillery. This is it's a tiny, tiny little distillery in the Southern Highlands, not that far from Glengyle, and a couple of others down there that are slipping my mind. This one is 10 years old, distilled on I guess May 2nd, 2007, bottled 10 years later. Binny's bottled this one. And the important thing to note, it is matured in a Madeira hogshead. So Madeira is a dessert wine. I've said in the past that Madeira is a white wine. That's not always true. Actually, a lot of Madeira is made from a red grape. But the noble Madeira variety, this gets complicated. The really nice Madeiras are made from white wine grapes. And I think this is one of those because there's nothing here that would indicate sort of red wine maturation. Which is nice because I'm a little bit scared of red wine maturation in my whiskeys. All right, so Ballechin for Madeira Cask for Binnies. Let's go. On the nose. Okay, so you're getting very farmy, barnyardy peat. Um, but alongside, like delicious almond fudge. Like you mixed your fudge up with some almonds, and you also threw a little almond extract in there. It's very nutty. So you're talking like barnyard with like dirt and animals and like a pig farting in the background, and it's a little gross. Topsoil, hay, but it's also like dessert, very desserty at the same time. So, um, farm air, German chocolate cake, some dates in there. There's some herbal tea, some like twigs. I mean, twigs may not be so odd in peated whiskey if you know your Highland Park, you know your Ledaig to peated Tobermory. But the mainland peat thing is just that barnyard peat stinkiness. Just some malted milk balls thrown in there. I mean, it's simple. It's simple and perfect. It's this lovely marriage of like disgusting and stinky and barnyardy and rural with sort of delicious and dessert like. It's really charming on the palate. Big, ooh, hot. Okay, so this is 59.3% alcohol. I'm basically going in the order in which I bought these, so there's no particular order or logic to this. Big peat. I mean, it's sort of in terms of peat levels, it reminds me of probably like Ardbeg kind of peat levels, but much filthier. Farmyard, hay, but then like a sugary pastry explosion in my mouth. It is quite short in my mouth. This is acting younger than 10 years. Actually, it's all up front. Yeah, peat, delicious sugary pastries, stinky barnyard. Then it closes on this sort of ashy kind of, but also slightly herbal bitterness, like an ashtray where everyone was smoking these double claro cigars from Dominica. Little brininess, some twigs. Maybe throw some like dried leaves in there. Grapey something like white grape skins. That nutty fudge thing is really still dominant here, but like dirty nutty fudge. Herbal tea, eucalyptus. Yeah, so it's again this mixture of stinky rural society with delicious desserty stuff, and I really enjoy it. Okay, we're gonna throw some water in this. I will say again, it acts young. I know 10 is not the oldest thing in the world, but it's actually acting more like a 7, 8-year-old than a 10-year-old. I'm gonna get this couple squirts of water. If you haven't rolled with me before, what I usually do with things of this strength is I'll try them neat and then go back through having brought them down to a more approachable drinking strength. That's about the right strength for this. We'll come back to it in a minute. All right, moving on to the Benriach. This is actually a Speyside whiskey. It's right next to, is it Longmorn? I think it's right next to Longmorn. The unpeated versions of Benriach have a reputation for being a little bit citrus sour driven. They're a little bit austere and difficult. But the peated stuff has caught some folks' attention, and it's well worth your time and attention because it's interesting and different. This is the second edition of their standard official bottling peated cask strength. This is an official bottling, 60% alcohol, no indication of age, which means young. And also it comes in this cool little case, which you can keep pasta in. You can probably actually keep like a little demi baguette or something in here too. Look at that. That's great. Tubes are kind of useless. Right. Moving on to the Benriach Peated Cask Strength number 2. Actually, not a lot going on the nose. Sort of, hello. Anyone home? You're getting, there's like, again, twiggy peat, Highland Park peat. More, I mean, the peat comes across as stronger than Highland Park does. This is more like Bowmore levels of peat, but it's not really expressing itself very much. There's a kind of barley fruitiness note. It's a little bit vague, but it's there. So sort of pear, apple, little Ovaltine, that kind of thing. Maybe like some vanilla, just oakiness, general, like a couple of vanilla beans thrown in. It smells a little bit like like a Victorian bathroom, like some old school cologne, maybe some makeups in there. It's really quiet, like orange blossom, maybe maybe some citrus blossom. It's really just twiggy peat and malt. That's most of what I'm getting. Confectioner's fudge, not the chocolate fudge. This is just the straight sugar and milk and butter on the palate. Okay. So first of all, I feel bad for complaining about like how young and how short in the mouth the Ballechin was acting, because this is acting really young. This is not rough or anything like that. It's just behaving as if like it's all up towards my front teeth and towards my lips and towards the tip of my tongue. Nothing is sort of getting back beyond that. But I mean, it's nice. It's pleasant. Again, it's sort of mixing dessertiness and stinky barnyardy stuff. Yeah. Oh, there's a cologne kind of note, which I like. Peat, barnyardy stuff, hay, stinky animals, cologne, a pear, like one pear. I don't know what kind of, maybe like a mix of different pears. Kind of a little bit of a fruit eau de vie note, something very spirity. Maybe you sort of vatted together some different berry eau de vies from like Eastern France or something like that. And then there's that sort of fudgy note, the confectioner's fudge note again. Not really chocolatey this time. It's just fudge. Some oak tannins. And then like a cooling, ashy dryness on the back end. Not as pronounced as the Ballechin. It's still, there's some double claro smoking going on here, and you're getting a little bit of that ashtray. But overall, and there's a little bit of barley sour there, which is reminding me that it's Benriach, which I kind of associate with that. But overall, it comes across as much simpler, a little more basic than the first one did. But hey, that's okay. I mean, I'm not judging. I mean, I am judging actually. Never mind. So moving on. In any case, let's give this a couple squirts of water and we'll come back to it. See if it has more to say. 2, 3. Try this. See if it's the right strength. Close enough. And now the Kilkerran. Kilkerran, very new distillery. One of the first new distilleries on Campbeltown for a while. By the way, if anyone comes out and wants to like yell at me, then to say Campbeltown is not, and the Mull of Kintyre is not part of the Scottish mainland. I mean, okay. Are you really gonna start an argument with someone on Facebook over this, or YouTube over this? Just let it go. Anyways, moving on. I am a huge fan of Kilkerran. Their 8-year-old is fantastic. Their 12-year-old is fantastic. They did a bunch of little work in progress things a while back, which were young but really fantastic. And this is the first I've had of their Peat-in-Progress offerings, which this one is 59.7% alcohol. So they've done, basically the story is they've done a peated version, and they're sort of working their way up like they did with their regular version. Batch number 3. The interesting thing to know about this one is a lot of them, the others were more sherry dominant. This one is only 20% sherry. The rest is all bourbon matured stock. So let's move on to the Kilkerran here. On the nose, ooh, totally different nose. Jesus. Yeah, these two are just in a different world from this. Okay. How do I start? Let's start with this. The leading note on this is take a kiwi. Take the most delicious kiwi you can think about. You've peeled it and it's got all of its green, luscious deliciousness. And then you drop it in an ashtray and you're like, oh no, I lost my delicious kiwi. You pick it out of the ashtray and then you throw it in the trash, and then you like change your mind. You pull it out of the trash can and you like start eating it, and you're getting like the kiwi, but also like the ashtray and the trash all at once. That's kind of the initial leading character I'm getting on the nose of this. It's like trashy, ashy, tropical fruit. That's really appealing, actually. Reminds me of mezcal a little bit. After a moment, give it a little bit of time, because when I first opened the bottle, that was all I was getting, was the sort of trashy, ashy kiwi thing. But now it becomes more properly peaty. It's very stinky, barnyardy, bizarrely fruity peat, but it's there. So again, animals and hay and all that stuff, but also there's a papaya thing. There's a orange zest thing. There's just an orange juice thing. But also like something coffee, like a cafe mocha, like latte with a little bit of cocoa thrown in. Porridge with like orange and molasses at the same time. That malted milk ball note from the Edradour that's still here. I'm sorry, the Ballechin. Some coconut, both the shell and the milk and the and also the shavings. And just like some mineral notes, just some gravel in there. It's a very complex nose. It reminds me a lot of non-traditional mezcals from places that are not Oaxaca, from Michoacan or some of the San Luis Potosi, something like that. Some old leather, some flintiness, a little bit of like a pecan thing, like throw one pecan in there, and like oatmeal maybe, like overnight steel cut oats. Just tons and tons of stuff going on the palate. Okay. Ooh. So just as I was saying, non-traditional mezcal. This threw some very traditional mezcal at me. There's a little bit of Del Maguey Vita in here, a little bit of Chichicapa throwing itself at me now, along with the kiwi ashtray trash component and the barnyard peat, and really like a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and like a little bit of like a half scoop of like chocolate ice cream, but like really serious dark, like dark, super dark, serious chocolate ice cream. Oh, this is good. I mean, it's got all the sweetness and dessert-likeness of this, but it's just got these extra levels and little details coming in. There's a spritz of orange juice, lemon zest, orange zest too, minerality, that porridge note, a little bit of a molasses note, malt, like sweet malt, sour malt, like barley sour, that sort of minerally note again, the kind of just cracked rocks. Also comes across as young, or put it this way, does not come across as any older than the Edradour is. But man, I mean, this covers the mouth. Yeah, this is the good stuff. This is serious. Very, I mean, these are kind of stinky but dessert-like, particularly this one. Like, this one is not going to win this. This one is, has dessert-like delicious quality that I really like. This one is taking that and sort of just, making into sharpening that into a hard edge of like citrus and tropical fruit and minerality, and I really appreciate that. This is real good. Let's give it a couple squirts of water though. Let's see if that's enough, and then we'll move on. A little half squirt more. Ooh, yeah, definitely a half squirt more. All right, let's go back through these again. Start with the Ballechin. That is from Signatory, which owns Ballechin. Don't explain to me, I don't understand why they wouldn't just bottle it as an official bottling since these are the owners. Whatever. All right. Ballechin 2007 10-year-old Madeira Cask Peated Whiskey with water. Gets actually a little bit more aromatic, a little more grapey. If you weren't picking up on what was the nature of the cask before, it's coming through now. There's some lychee fruit, kind of what the wine nerds would call forest floor. So little dirt and sort of rotting vegetation mixed in with your lychee fruit. And just kind of a nice white wine grapes component. Mixed with the peat has actually toned itself down quite a bit. It's sort of reined itself in a lot. Sort of now we've dialed things back down from Ardbeg levels to like Ardmore levels, Bowmore levels. I mean, actually, that's a good point of. I mean, Ardmore is a good point of reference to this. So think Ardmore, but so with that same desserty quality that brings, but more dirty, more farmy, and more cows like with stinky cow fur in the background, and a little bit more grapey as well. That's what this is. And on the palate. Oh, nice. There's a white pepper thing and a dustiness that comes out. And the white pepper is real serious. Much improved with water. Yeah. A lot more, sort of dials back the German chocolate cake thing. And also dials back the peat. But gets lots more flavors that kind of unpacks themselves. That lychee fruit thing, the farminess kind of dials up. They're quite minerally too. Little soapstone in there. Grassy, minerally. Has a nice. Oh, what is that? A nice kind of not lemon, kind of almost like a lime zest thing hitting in there. Nice long finish, very long, pleasant, still ashy, but much longer than it was before, and much more kind of bringing in the sort of grape skins aspects of it. I like this. This is a good Islay alternative. If you're getting tired of Islay, I would give this 86 plus points, and good job. One more try with this. Yeah, that works. I mean, I think part of why this works is because it's matured into a whole term in the Madeira cask. Rather, they aren't taking a bourbon cask and finishing it in Madeira, and just swamping it with that extra character. This is just had that character the entire time, so there's no clash between the cask influences here. Nice, I like this. 86 plus. Back to the Benriach. All right, with water on the nose. Okay, gets much stinkier with water, which I'm not against. I'm okay with this. I'm kind of getting like a flooded Chicago basement. Like it rained too much, and the groundwater started to seep in a little bit. Some coffee, like some boiled down hotel coffee, which has been kind of sitting on the heater for 6 hours, and you kind of decided to smell it anyways. Kind of a nicely ashy. The peat has kind of receded again. I'm going to see this as a characteristic of mainland peated whiskies. Add water to them, peat kind of goes away. That's not the same thing as with Islay peat, where it kind of, you add water and the peat kind of comes out and challenges you a little bit more. This gets it brings out more other elements, not so much the peatiness. Yeah, ashy, but it's less cigar ash this time. It's more on like other things, like burned leaves, burned twigs, burned, forest fiery stuff. And I'm also getting like more of just the straight up Benriach distillate. Like there's a cider apple character here that I associate with Benriach. I mean, but it still comes across as very young. This comes across as, not rough, but, some raw, it's basically raw materials meets active oak. And that's not bad, especially with peat, kind of tying everything together. But, it's not, we're not going to reach profundity here. So, but on the palate. Also improves with some water. Oh, that's nice. Simple. Young. Very much still in the front of my mouth. This goes back a little, the Ballechin goes back in my mouth a little bit with water. This kind of stays where it is. This is all in the front of my tongue. There's a little bit of a cinnamon latte thing coming through now, along with like a cinnamon, like just a coffee cake thing. Sweetens up a little bit. The peat kind of recedes a little bit again. Try it again. stinky, farmy, spicy, cinnamon, coffee cakey. Promising, but it's not going to win this comparison. Not bad though. It's I would give this, oh geez, a very honest 84 plus. Can I give it that? Yeah, let's say 84 plus. And I am in no way offended by this. Nah, not a bad job at all, Benriach. Oh, it's also unfiltered, and there's probably no color in this either. I think that's the case with all these, but I didn't really take the time to check. And finally, back to the Kilkerran. All right. Oh, did I mention that this also comes in a tube? So you can keep 2 demi baguettes if you like, if you want to buy both of these. How great is that? All right. Kilkerran with a little bit of water. Okay, amazingly, it's the rhubarb that comes out, which I was not expecting. There's a rhubarb. What is that? Rhubarb cider, apple cider pear, and like a citric mezcal thing, like almost a ricea thing, like a very slightly sour agave thing. Some grapefruit, some white pepper. This is interesting. Porridge and intensely rocky. I mean, so you're really getting, it's the acids and the rocks that really come out with some water. It just smells like rock dust, like 2 rocks kind of crushed together, and it was just this exploding cloud of dust. But again, the peat kind of recedes. It kind of goes back into its shell behind these other flavors. Wow, that is there's a lot of things to unpack there. On the palate, oh, wasn't expecting that. The wood comes out, actually. Really more the wood sugars. Yeah, lots of wood sugars coming out. Sweetens up immensely. Still bounced off of that sort of barley sour, kind of grapefruity thing. But yeah, the wood sugar is really lovely. The black pepper is really lovely. Porridge comes out again. Still very peaty. Again, we're sort of settling around kind of Bowmore levels of peat. Peatier on the palate than it was on the nose with water, though. That orange character again is still here. And there's something in here which is just like reminding me of just straight up Cuban cigars. Like it's kind of more full bodied, like a Monte Cristo. That sort of heavy aromatic seedy character that you get, but to still sort of cigar tobacco. And the finish improves as well. It gets a little more grippy. Kind of hangs on with the sort of sour notes and the peat and the sweetness intermingled. This is very nice and extremely promising for where peated Kilkerran is going to go in the future. I would give this a well-earned 88 points, 88 flat, and I don't know. This is a bit of a. Part of me wants to tell you to wait until they come out with the official, no longer in progress version. But frankly, this is pretty good as it is. So you can buy it if you'd like. So what do we got here? 86 plus, 84 plus. I think this was, or did I go up to 85? I don't remember anymore. I think it was 84 plus. And 88. And that's your collection of young mainland peated whiskies. That's kind of what I got. I think these are well worth considering, especially as an alternative to Islay and the island peated scotches. And frankly, as an alternative to Ardmore and Longrow and maybe some of those other more well-known options. That's all I got. I think they're pretty good, especially the Kilkerran. Thanks for watching, and cheers.